Alright, this is going to be what's called a shoot blog today. No script, no nothing, just speaking right from the heart, right from the mind. And it's on Peyton Manning. I'm hearing all these things days after Super Bowl 44, in which the Saints won, as everybody knows, criticizing Peyton Manning for how he played the game and how, you know, things of that nature. My opinion on that is this: he played to win that game. He played to win that game. You cannot blame the quarterback for something that the receivers didn't do. Reggie Wayne had a bad football game. I'm saying it now. I don't think Reggie Wayne played well. Let's take that interception that Peyton Manning threw, for instance. If Reggie Wayne would have ran a better route, because everybody knew it looked like when Manning set up, the ball was going to him. It was a quick three-step drop, bam, throw it right to Reggie Wayne. He's there. Everybody knew that. Tracy Porter jumped on it. You can't blame Peyton Manning for that. The ball was there. The ball was where it needed to be. Reggie Wayne wasn't there. All right? When you look at it, Manning did not play a bad game. 31 for 45, 333 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. In the regular season, those types of numbers win you football games. You know, just in the Super Bowl, it wasn't to be. The Saints outplayed the Colts. And it just so happened it was in the biggest game of the year. And then you want to talk about Peyton Manning being the greatest of all time. You see, I like Peyton Manning. I'm a Peyton Manning fan. I'm a Saints fan, but I'm a Peyton Manning fan. Okay? To call him the greatest of all time, to me, and this is a knock on the national media, to me is disrespect to Joe Montana. It's disrespect to Dan Marino. It's disrespect to quarterbacks that preceded him, Terry Bradshaw. You know, Manning's up there as top echelon quarterbacks in the history of the league. But the difference between him and Montana and Bradshaw, the number 4. And I'm not talking about the 4 horsemen either. I'm talking about the number of Super Bowl rings that both Montana and Bradshaw each have. They each have 4. You know, yeah. Manning's got 4 NFL MVPs, but only 1 Super Bowl ring. That's an issue. He has led the Colts to 9 playoff appearances in this decade. 1 time he won the Super Bowl. 9 playoff appearances, which for any team to make the playoffs 9 years out of 10 is a feat in its own. But as good as the Colts have been over the last 10 years, to only have 1 ring to show for it is not good. That's a 10%. That's a 10% rating there. One ring in 10 years, 10%. But we can't. I mean, but I'm criticizing that for teams that make the playoffs. You can't say this about Cleveland. You can't say this about, you know, teams that don't consistently make the playoffs. You can't say that. The Colts are a consistent visitor to the playoffs. And if not for Peyton Manning, the Colts would be a 6-win team, a 7-win team, not getting to the playoffs if it wasn't for Peyton Manning. But in my opinion, yeah, Manning's got great numbers. He consistently gets his team to the playoffs. But he's not, in my opinion, the greatest of all time. Everybody's going to have their opinions about who is the greatest quarterback of all time. But you also have to look at it like this. The greatest of all time had good coaching, has multiple rings, and had weapons around him. Well, Manning's got weapons around him. He creates the weapons, Manning does. Here comes Pierre Garçon. Here comes Austin Collie. Now, these two guys, if they were on another team, say Oakland or Cleveland or St. Louis, we wouldn't know who in the world these two guys are. Peyton Manning makes them better. All right, say they're on the Colts, but there's a different quarterback. Curtis Painter, for example, the rookie backup quarterback to Peyton Manning. If it was Curtis Painter running the show, we wouldn't know who Pierre Garçon is. We wouldn't know who Austin Collie is. Peyton Manning makes these guys better. He creates weapons. Montana, Jerry Rice was there. He had Dwight Clark. He had John Taylor. He had weapons around him. I mean, these guys were established players, and they just gelled together with Montana. Bradshaw had Lynn Swann and John Stallworth, and there was a running game behind them. They had weapons around Bradshaw. Manning creates those weapons. You know, I love Peyton Manning, but it's not right to criticize him. And the purpose of this shoot blog right here is not necessarily knocking Peyton Manning or the Colts organization. It's knocking the national media. It's not fair to Peyton Manning when you start calling him the greatest of all time the week leading up to the Super Bowl, and then he plays the Super Bowl and loses, throws a pick six, and then and then all of a sudden he's not? What the hell? That's on you, national media. That's on you. I'm a Peyton Manning fan. I love the way he plays football. He's intense. When things don't go right, he gets frustrated. When things go right, he's on top of the mountain. He's on top of the world. And quarterbacks and players should be like that. But as far as the national media is concerned, you cannot call him the greatest of all time leading into the Super Bowl, say he's going to win by 2 touchdowns, say he's going to win by 17 points against the New Orleans Saints team that worked their butts off to get where they were, to get to the Super Bowl, then worked their butts off to win the Super Bowl. You don't want the Saints to win the Super Bowl. They win the Super Bowl. Peyton Manning has really, really great numbers for a Super Bowl performance, but throws a pick six, he loses the game, and now you're calling him, and now you're saying he chokes, or you're criticizing the way he played. That's not fair to Peyton Manning. To me, he's not the greatest of all time, but he's definitely up there in the upper echelon of quarterbacks to ever play this game. For now, I'm the Relentless Rebel, and I'll be seeing you next time.